Many people today are in a deep financial pit. Their debts have piled up. They find themselves needing a huge miracle from God. Often the situation looks hopeless, and it's hard to believe that a new beginning is possible. 2 Kings 4 tells the amazing story of a widow who found herself in exactly this predicament. With her husband gone, it was hard to make ends meet. The situation had gotten so bad that she told the prophet Elisha in 2 Kings chapter 4, "The creditors are coming to take my 2 sons to be their slaves." You know, at first it might be hard for you to relate to this statement. A creditor is coming to take your children, your grandchildren, into slavery. But that's exactly what happens when you're facing an overwhelming debt. God warns us in Proverbs that the borrower becomes the lender's slave. It may seem like harsh language. Perhaps you've already experienced this kind of slavery in your own life. But remember, financial slavery is not God's will for you. God has called you to be His beloved child, and His kids aren't meant to be the slaves of anyone. Perhaps you need a financial breakthrough to end your bondage to poverty and lack. Elisha's response to this widow's cry for help may seem puzzling to you at first. Elisha told her, "What do you have in your house?" Instead of offering to give her something from his own resources, he first inquired about the resources that she already had. "What do you have?" the prophet asked. And that's God's question to you as well today. He never asks you for something you don't have, but He rightfully expects you to surrender what you do have to Him. How can someone who's on the verge of financial ruin be expected to trust God and surrender even the little bit that they still have? It's here that the story starts getting exciting. This widow clearly didn't like Elisha's question. She said to him, "I don't have anything in the house but a jar of oil." And her first thought was she had nothing. She remembered, but, I have a jar of oil. Perhaps you're in exactly the same circumstance today. If you feel like you've nothing in comparison to the extreme, huge financial need that you may be facing, Elisha saw the situation much differently. Her small jar of oil could become the seed to bring her prosperity that she never dreamed was possible. Elisha gave the widow some rather peculiar advice. He told her, "Borrow empty containers from the neighbors, and not a few. Get ready for your miracle breakthrough." You know, her neighbors probably thought she was a little crazy. Borrowing empty vessels, she had nothing to put in them. But when this desperate woman chose to trust God and obey Elisha's instructions, her turnaround came. Within a very short period of time, she went from financial ruin to a plentiful supply. You know, not only was her debt paid off, and not only were her sons released from the threat of slavery, but she had more than enough to live on. I believe God is a God of more than enough. God told her through the prophet Elisha, "Go, sell the oil, pay your debt, you and your sons live on the rest." Her scarcity was reversed when she obediently poured out what she had. Friend, what God did for this little widow lady, He'll do for you today. No matter what kind of scarcity or lack you're facing, things can turn around for you when you trust the Lord with what little you think you may have and follow His instructions. God bless you.